The biggest problem between us is drug and alcohol use, and it's caused a lot of problems for me and my kids, and for him also.
Sure, I can understand that. Children?
2 children.
All right.
Michael and Michelle, 15 and
Would
10.
you say that it would be a happy marriage if he wasn't using? Or is it hard to tell when somebody's been using for that long?
It's always been there from the time we were married, so I guess if he quit, I probably would have to learn to know this person all over, but I think I'd like that person better
Okay.
than I do now.
In 9 breakups, has it always been because of using?
Yeah, it has.
All right.
It's usually him, he's left 9 times. I left him once for 4 days, and it was over drugs. Also.
His use of drugs?
Yeah, I had asked him to lay up on the couch with me, just cuddle. I just felt like I needed him, and he was cleaning out his pipe for the 4th time, and he just kind of looked at me and then decided to clean his pipe, and I just felt like he made a choice.
And that was that?
Yeah, so I left the next day.
Do you think you've been a good husband?
I could have been a better husband, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
You could have been a better husband.
Sure.
But do you think you've been a good husband?
No.
No. Because of the using?
Using and just my attitude, my way I did things, it just wasn't family-oriented, you know.
Give me an example. What do you mean?
Just sit in front of the TV and, you know, didn't relate to anybody. And, you know, Saturday night was the 5th and, you know, just party type attitude, mentality, you know.
How do you feel that there's another man in her life?
Well, there's been, on other split-ups, there's been other men as well, and I don't feel good about it. This one in particular, I don't feel good about, you know.
Why?
Because I don't like the way he treats the children. I don't like the way I don't like his mentality at all. I just don't deal with it well.
Okay. What would
He doesn't treat the children bad. He does a lot for the kids. He has did a lot for my kids.
Well, I went over there Monday, and my daughter was acting up, and his response to my daughter was, "You're a bitch just like your mother."
That's a lie.
Did you say that?
That's what I was told.
It really
No one
upsets
up to
me
this point
because, let me talk, it really upsets me because, damn it, be there to discipline your kids.
I can't be there, John. Every time I'm there, you've got an attitude,
no
you're staring
authority
me
with
down,
them.
you've called the cops on me, John, you have an
right.
attitude, you talk crap to me every time I'm there.
How did you meet John?
I actually met him.
When John have never met, and Bo is going to join us in just a moment. Linda, let me start with you. How do you find yourself with 2 lovers?
First of all, John and I have been married for 19, almost 20 years.
Okay.
And we've had a lot of problems.
What are they?
It's been ever since the beginning, since we got married. When we first got married, he lost his job. And it's went on and on from just almost not having we don't have trust. We didn't have trust between each other. I felt like I couldn't depend on him. He's a good person. He is a wonderful person. I mean, he's real friendly and real open, but with me, there was never a trust there. We were never friends. We didn't have a friendship between us, a bond like you should normally have.
Have you been separated in the 20
Yeah,
years?
we've been separated about 4 different times.
Okay. Do you have children?
I have 3 children. I have a 17-year-old, a 10-year-old, and an 11-year-old.
Yet are you separated now?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Yet you still love him.
I do. I still love him very much.
But you feel you can't live with him?
Yes.
Why? If I had to ask you, if you had to give it to me in one sentence, why can't you live with him?
Because he has a very violent temper, and he's been confused for a long time. He's not able to show, like...
When you say he has a violent temper, are we saying that he hits you?
He has in the past, okay? He loses control. He's had a hard time dealing with his feelings. He's been going to counseling now, and the counseling's helping him find out that a lot of his anger that he hasn't been able to deal with, is from his childhood.
Okay, but answer this sentence, Linda. I cannot live with him because, or I'm having trouble living with him because, or I do not live with him because.
because we're not friends. We can't get along together.
John, what do you think about what Linda has said?
Well, it's true. We cannot get along sometimes, you know, and also I had a drug problem too. And she didn't know. I hid all that from her. I hid about that from her, you know, and I've hid a few things from her, you know. But as it's going on, I'm talking to her more about these things.
Yeah, he had a bad drug problem, and we lost our home. We lost a lot of things, but I didn't see this. Other people
She didn't
saw
wanna
it,
see
but
it,
I
I
didn't
don't
want to
think.
see it. I guess I didn't want to believe it. I mean, his family knew, but no one told me. We had moved out of state, moved to another town, and he developed it again. He got in touch with
this
people.
bad temper that she talks about, this not knowing what you want, is that the result of the drugs?
No, I've always had a temper. And
It's not the result of the drugs or the alcohol or
no,
anything
part
else?
of it, no.
None.
None of it.
Then what do you think is the problem with your marriage? Smith, and Robin is a family therapist. Robin, I have so many questions for you. What do you mean when you say if a woman has two lovers, that's what it takes to fulfill her needs? What's that mean?
Well, no, not if she has two lovers, but someone who does have two lovers is saying that they're hungry for something. And what I hear as I'm listening to both of these situations are people who are crying out who haven't been heard. It's like starving someone for nurturance.
So they're getting a little bit from each man.
They're getting a little bit from each man, and there's something that I always talk about. That we've gotten enough nurturance in life to be, not to be satisfied. We've gotten enough to survive. And so what we see up here is survival, not people who are satisfied, not people whose hunger has really been
So they're
filled.
just getting along. They're, contrary to our thought that having two lovers, they should be having a heck of a time, it's the opposite. They're just getting along.
Well, that's a myth. You know, the more lovers, the more sex, the more fun. What we see here, as far as I'm concerned, is a lot of pain. And so we can laugh and joke and be uncomfortable about how funny it is or how crazy it is, but the reality is that there are 6 people up here who are really suffering and in a lot of pain. And so it's not a big circus and a big game.
Tell me about triangles. How many in the audience have ever been involved in a triangle one way or the other? 1, 2, 3. Oh, some of you are not telling me the truth.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right, they're not telling the truth. And the reason I say that is we often think of triangles just between lovers, husbands and wives and an outsider, but triangles start long before we're old enough to have partners. They start in our families of origin. They start with mothers and fathers and children, between siblings, and the rivalries and the fighting. And so triangles, everyone should have their hands up. Maybe
Okay,
they
how
don't
many of
know
you been
it.
in a triangle? Brothers, sisters, mothers, dads? Okay, now we're getting some hands up. But what are the issues concerning triangles?
Some of the fundamental issues are competition, the need to feel appreciated and wanted, the need that we set these things up, trying to resolve in adulthood unresolved childhood issues. For instance,